Marcel, the brother who finished that, Sister Cynthia, she's the one that provided the dwelling space, real nice, abode. And as you know, we had the brother to whom we by way of him, that's the brother that spoke a few minutes ago. All this stuff is tied in, and we'll tie in. So I guess this is the second home now in Chicago. Hell, I came in twice in 99 and once in 2000, and couldn't see me ever get back. You know, but I guess they say the best for last. I've been in that 3 times in the last 3-4 months. So that's pretty good. Read the last 5 months. So that's pretty good. You know, and I guess that's what time it is. Got a lot of good information. Even coming down to the airport took me a little while. It took a little while for us. Then the sister said to pick me up for us to meet. We kept missing each other. But what had happened was, if she would have picked me up at the time that I was when I first got off the plane, I wouldn't have been able to get particular information I needed. And although the brother brought the information today, the same information, I wouldn't have synthesized it. There was some information in the newspaper that I needed, and if I would have been picked up right off the plane at the time, I wouldn't have been able to get this particular information. Wouldn't be able to get this particular information. So, by waiting around a minute, and then going to the coffee shop, I was able to pick up this piece of paper. I'm going ahead of myself. And it is probably, for most people, it's not aware of it. It doesn't seem like anything. But because I have a certain amount of research and I've been tracking this thing at least for the last 5 years, then this is a signature key in the last page of what I needed to understand when they were going to do the go-ahead on this. And I'll get into that in a few minutes. Into that particular information. But like I said, the Homeland Security and everything else that was going down at this particular time has to do with us. I said this the last time I was here when the buildings fell on 9/11/2001. Is it kind of echo or something? Is it any kind of way? Who's the sound man? You got two sound like a damn bus station. Sound like a bus station. You know. Chicago, Mississippi. Next stop. No drinking on the coast. Yeah, I'm trying to get that kind of grind out. Is that true? That's better. Let me see. Test it. You need to do the little time sound check thing. Test it. That sounds pretty good. Still have a little hits in it, like a whole trouble. Guess I put some lace up in that one. You know, yeah. That sounds a little better. Just take all the trouble out, period. You know. We'll do it that way. Do know a little bit about stereo equipment. All niggas should know something about stereo equipment. You know. And, but anyway, moving right along, I knew when the buildings fell down that this thing was going to lead back to us. There is no arrogance, and I did a tape call, Moving Beyond Metaphysics into Occultism, I think the name of it. Did it in Trenton, New Jersey back in 1998. And I guess it was prophetic, but later on came true, where I said that they were going to bring the Adam for everything. And that was going to be a key to pass all the laws, to put things on lockdown that is meaning to us. the entire Homeland Security, terrorist bill, Patriot Act, or whatever, is based on trying to contain the elect. The elect is the black consciousness in America, mainly. There's research, there's a big research, there's a big campaign of black consciousness going on in the UK. You know, because you have a big influx from the Caribbean aspect, you know, in the last 100 years, going from the Caribbean to the UK. And that's where a lot of the Caribbean went, that here's some trouble back in it. Yeah, you smell the top that trouble right now. It gets some base. You know, it's fine for them to go. Just, you know, there ain't no way to take that trouble. Yeah. So they have a big influx over the years, mainly in the UK, what they call London, England, and a few places around Europe, Paris, which is a big influx of Africa, but mainly in Britain. There's, you know, we went through our Afrocentric consciousness, the late 80s, early 90s. They went through their Afrocentric consciousness, the late 90s, early 2000s. So now they're moving into the whole metaphysical thing of the occult realm now, whereas, you know, I've been doing this for since 1992, 13 years. But they're not the focus. The focus is the black people in some form of consciousness. And some form of consciousness. So all of these, whether it be the Noble-Ali group, Nation of Islam, and all of the first groups that came about, Black Hebrews, this, you know, research for Black Panthers, and then on into your Afrocentric groups, historical groups, and the occult groups, metaphysical groups, whatever the case is, and how divided it may be, this is the elect we're talking about. So it's not had nothing to do with most churches who think that they are the elect, that have the same commonplace religion that is given to them by the European powers. I'm talking about that. We're talking about the people who understand the origins of all this shit being us. And this makes up the elect. The book of Enoch talks about it, and it was very much put plainly that when they asked the question that the powers that rule, now these people study this stuff all around the clock, so whenever we're sleeping, that is true that they study information because it is perfect that they know when they're to be unseen. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. That's what you got to share with it. I know we do a lot of the magic stuff going on here. The brother Solomon Smith brought me last time, and his glove connection he hooked up with his queen here, Sister Deborah. And they've been hot and spicy ever since. So there's a lot of energy going on. So they've been down wild orangutans and shit, you know, lately and all, you know.
315, Bobby, 315.
You know, so the whole love connection thing was made on that particular thing. So, you know, that's the way this vortex works. But anyway, this elect, the book of Enoch talks about the powers that will be, that are ruling in the latter days, will be turned over to the elect. So, you have warnings like a tsunami, and like another earthquake that came in Indonesia. People say, well, you know, why all these bad things happen to still indigenous people, but not necessarily the people who rule the planet, mainly the Europeans? It is because it is a prophecy in the Ethiopian book of Enoch says that the elect will be turned over, that the powers that rule will be turned over to the elect. Now, this may not seem like nothing to us, literacy. And then in 1996, they got a report on NBC News that when it was looking into some government agencies that had almost $10 million had gone into just revising American history. Like, how much American history and constitutional history that needs to be revised $10 million every year. So in so many words, what it was actually doing was there's these programs, and they will say, the government will say, $10 million to go into American history, but that's just the cover. The $10 million actually went into people who just sit in a room and read every horror book, every sci-fi book, every black conscious book, and any kind of print that comes out. The ones that go to the Library of Congress, the ones that people print clandestine mail are news and literature. When we say clandestine, things are outside of their catalog, which is the Library of Congress. But even stuff that, if I put together a little pamphlet or book, there will be people that will come to black consciousness agents or whatever, and their job is to get the cassettes, the tape, the data, the books, and everything, and report that stuff back to DC. And ship it back to DC. So they will be the first to buy the tapes. If the tapes come out 2 weeks later, they will be the first to buy the tapes. So the government gets all of the information that is coming out of the black community, and it goes to this compartment of this department. And where they don't need no term. Comic books, like I say, sci-fi, horror, even any type of black movie, any type of video, any kind of documentary. And they pay you about $10 million a year to sit there and go through all of this stuff and catalog it and give it over to these particular powers to be. And so what they can do is they go in and monitor it to see where we are. The good part about that is, normally what would actually happen is they would be very paranoid. Because they would read this stuff and say, these Negroes are getting wise. But the spirit world makes sure that the literature that is coming is almost a teardrop compared to the mass ignorance of black people. So the elect will produce things and you will get this information. You see, and also they run all white intelligentsia. But compared to black people that is in the masses, that seems to get worse and worse and worse every month. You know, there's no end to the depths of what we are. As a matter of fact, we can truly say at this particular time in 2005 that normally we usually could take white folks and compare white folks to black folks, and there was some type of monitor of what white folks do to people would compare on what not to do. Not anymore. As a matter of fact, it is safe to say that if you compare white folks to black folks, the monitor and what not to do would be what these niggas are producing. Now that's called the mind and the way. And what I mean by that is anytime you don't slip from a local level, that you can be white folks out there today and you be like, damn, I'm sad to say these people acting pretty damn nice. Well, I should have after killing the world for the last 500 years and owning everything, you should be able to behave on a high level of civilization. You see what I'm saying? At least the illusion of that. What I'm trying to make is, as far as our fight, there is no end in the degradation that we fall into, and there's a reason for that. I'll give you a reason, and then let me give you an example. The brother just told me a few minutes ago that Farrakhan and Jesse Jackson had a special prayer service to pray for the damn folks. This is probably one of the most, I believe that's got to be about the lowest level of black person. Because we in the African is the one that claims this slavery. And I'm going to give you that how good Pope John Paul was, which I got a list of deviant shit this guy is doing. But even the illusion of Pope John Paul, they can never uncover the tyrannical pillage of the Vatican and the Church of Rome. You understand what I'm saying? That system, hell, we don't really want to go into the colonization of black people all over the planet and the murder of black people all over the planet that was sanctioned by the church. We don't even want to go into that. We could even say that thousands of white men, their own people were burned in the state called witches under the same pattern in Europe. You know what I'm saying? And that's their people. The point I'm trying to make here is, we're talking about one of the most deviant, insidious, tyrannical machines that happened in the last 1,000 years. And Farrakhan and Jesse Jackson gonna get together with a special service to pray to the Pope. That is because they are bosses. They are the people who are over there say, you niggas better get up in there, you better buy with me, you better not listen. You see what I'm saying? There's no end level that we will fall. Now, the flip side of that is, a brother mentioned about 10 years ago, he said, you know, on the time when we're there to buffer system, for us, it wasn't all the time that white people would be so paranoid until every waking hour would be upon us. But when they go and they see all the time, when they see the plight of black people in their most savage ways, it somehow soothes the white boy and gives this white boy this illusion that there is no way that these people here can unseat me. They are so savage. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, that's the spirit realm. The spirit realm says, look, we will give them a decoy, whereas the elect, which is the black consciousness, can go undetected. Now there's a decoy, so we do have black conscious movements that go into soothing the white boy also with their ignorance, but still yet, it still sets up a banner and an umbrella for those particular people who are still on the real path. That it goes undetected. The white boy has spoiled by bad path. You see, he doesn't think there's nothing to unseat him whatsoever. You see? So things that actually happen. So in one way it does look bad, on another way it's far from the course. It's right and it's black. You see. So on polarizations, we're gonna go into some things. We got a lot of things that we can, you know, that I bring with me now. I find out that these photographs, so when I go into this, as a real powerful thing when it comes to the particular images that we're actually showing now, and have to say also. We got some of that type of thing, you know. And there's so many words, let me get my bag. There's so many words. We pretty much have a lot of good information, and it's a great celebration. And so I'm going to go into some of this particular information, the whole libation we're going to get right into and all here. Now, what I did is, I think I left a piece of paper in the restroom and fell out of my pocket. I'm going to go get that so you can cut that camera off. And I'm going to get that. Is that camera like that one? No, it's not that. It's another. You know, it's a little note I've been trying to find. And then we're going to go into the system. You can do that. I'm going to get this piece of paper. And then I think I put it on the ground when I was washing my hands, and I think I left it up there. And so I need to get this piece of paper. So you go do that, and we're going to give you this thing here. And before libation, we get back. Okay. All right, yeah. Go get it. All the way over, testing.
I can't hear anything.
Testing. All right. Let me get right to it. All right. All right, well, full libations. Full libations and get back to it. Y'all all right? All right. Okay, let's do this right. Let me get my juice out here. This right. Juice. You on?
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay. All right. Then you don't have to be home. You can be at home with your people. All right. This is called Rich and Rare. Age 3 years Canadian imported whiskey. So I'm going to pull the guard some of this. Don't sleep. Y'all get tired of punching with the doctors. You need to depend on the spirit. This might be your only solution. And after we go through what we're going through today, you want to stay far away from the doctors as you can. You ask Johnny Cochran about that. We'll go into that in a few minutes. So let's do the libation and get this knocked out of the way this minute. Okay. Blacksmith. I said. Blacksmith. Connect. Shiva, Rupa, Shakti, Kali, and like I said, these are our ancient gods and goddesses that we abandoned, not because of corrupt the Muslims say, oh, they became corrupt. You know, or the Christians say, you know, those systems became corrupt. It's the reason why God had to kill a new covenant. I was more time on the planet when Judaism, Christianity, and Islam wasn't on the planet, because the planet was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? As far as a time, if you talk about corruption, there's never been a time that these religions have been into existence that the planet wasn't steeped in an upheaval of man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, anybody ever said anything else about any of our ancient systems, never studied it. You know what I'm saying? Right now, 90% of the people and most religions we talk about, one sister told me, they're all false religions. I said, name one. She couldn't do it. I said, mainly because you don't understand. If you enter religion, that is the false one. That is the false one. If you enter religion, because that is nothing but a simulation of ancient mystery systems, educational systems, that later on you got a simulation of it. You see what I'm saying? Whenever it is inspiration ceremony, I don't think that's gonna work right there. The monsoon. Their homeboy, he might just buy his tongue on that fucking smoothie. We got some water up here. You know, we don't need the bazaar thing along until this election gets to break. Anyway, I don't say that because these are things that we have to tap back into systems that worked for us before other cultures came in and outlawed your spiritual systems. You see what I'm saying? So you deal with the male chauvinist murder cults. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, male chauvinist murder cults. That's what Professor John Henry Clark's aspect. So, you know, and at this particular time, all goes back to the Great Mother. You want to be safe and be sure about it, if you don't know, nothing is above the Great Mother. Straight up. You see, straight up. All right, so let's go on. Oh, DJ. I say. Cuba. Native American spirits. Mama, well, some of you people, I've been speaking for 13 years, and you know, we ain't going to hell yet. We're calling out stuff outside of Jesus and Jehovah, so in that particular case, you don't have to worry about that. If my shit was wrong, and I do this at least twice a month, see some light would have struck a nigga in the last 13 years. There is no fear but your own mind. Somebody told you to be scared of. You know, you send your kid off to be educated by a person that stick electrodes on their nuts. They do all kinds of stuff. You use some shit called a sticker, long needle, shoot up your ass And what do you call it when you pray they stick it down? Leave up your spine? What? Amniothesis.
Amniothesis.
Amniothesis. Or prosthesis, whatever it is. You let them do this. But yet, you stay up a name on a piece of paper. You let the devil come and do all kinds of experiments on you. This is not going to really get into today. Ask God.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? You see, so you choose what to be afraid of, but you be the witness on that or what you're going to be afraid of. Just like history. You know what I'm saying? But why is it it's only your spiritual systems and they got you all scared? You see what I'm saying? You know, one sister came up to me last time, she said, isn't that idolatry? So what the fuck is that? Where did you get that from? You know what I'm saying? And did you determine that out of some savage ass alley in the Middle East told you that was idolatry? The Taliban. And all these crackers and whatnots. You see what I'm saying? Al-Qaeda. You see what I'm saying? That's just male shoulders, murder cups, gone bad. You see what I'm saying? Much. Ready? I'm on that. That was stolen from the Canaanites, the Coptic Egyptians, by the Romans and turned around. So when you get the Gospel of Thomas, that's one of the Egyptian origins. When you get Benjamin's Gnostic scriptures of the Nag Hammadi library, it was still up in 1945. In Hemmitt, which is the Coptic Egyptian version of Christianity that the Romans stole and plagiarized and then tried to kill all of them off. See, you try to kill them all of them off. You see, train out, who are y'all? Lots of Jason, Tell me no to pass from I say. To all entities on our side, known and unknown, to all ancestors known and unknown, I say. Okay, let's get down to a lot of the business at hand. Things that's going to happen. Obviously, there's something as big that's coming up this summer. This is what the whole high gas thing is about. So why don't you allow people to suffer this don't look annoying. This is what the whole high gas thing is about. I put this particular symbol up here. The high gas, you know, it's going to shoot up, they say, and they make estimations. Now, there's no need for high gas, for the simple fact that they were successful in their campaign with the Iraq war. But those who show you it was never about no gas in the first place. Let's see if I got this right. Yeah, this is the Shri symbol of the goddess Lakshmi. And so we'll get into that in a minute. There was never a symbol. There was never any type of war based on gas and that kind of thing. America was going to build all the refineries in the first. This is my little history. So the first thing we do is just, you don't even want to know where the flag based on the gas. America always on the gas. America and Britain. They were going to build all refineries. They were coming from the beginning. So you see what I'm saying? The Arabs over there in Canada, they didn't know nothing about no fucking oil. You see, so it was never about that. So for the milk out there raising these gas prices, that is to keep you distracted from something. Something going on this summer, or to keep you on lockdown. See, people will be more inclined to go through the system of Homeland Security, which is your airport system, than to travel. You see, than to travel. So they discourage you that gas will be too high, that you say, well, what the hell, I'll take a plane. When you take a plane, you got to go through Homeland Security. You see what I'm saying? You have to go through Homeland Security. So, to make sure that you stay out of your car, you got to raise the gas up. As well as to distract you. Summertime, vacation, you got to worry about gas. And they do black people without flying. I'm on the airport at least twice a month. And that's slowed down compared to the 90s and the early 2000s. But that's at least twice a month. That's a lot of flying. And I'm telling you, there's never no more than 5 black people on their planes. Every now and then they got a church convention some damn well. And you'll see a group of niggas come on in or they buy or the NBA playoffs. You see what I'm saying? But you know, not only that's coming to your part of the country, you see what I'm saying? You know, you don't see that many black people flying. You see? So black people are taking the highway and they ride. So this is to discourage you from going around the country in your car. You know, they can get in there like Mexicans, 40 deep in a car. You know, that's too much time, you know. Niggas, we ride into New York. And they got 3 in the front seat and 5 in the back seat. But the key is to discourage you from driving. You see, because somehow they still having trouble tracking you on the highway because the whole traffic thing is a mess. You see. And so to discourage you from driving and stuff, they want you to get on the planes. They might even bring your plane tickets down cheaper. The whole thing is to make you track your movement through Homeland Security. You see what I'm saying? Through Homeland Security. That's the key. Now, follow me on this because they get very sophisticated. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a list at the break. And you can come up and sign up. There's some readings, the 777 readings, which I think is basically a numerical system that came out of Chile. It was lost, it was found in the late 1800s. It was brought up back by the Moors. But it was translated by the Egyptian priests from from letter into Latin into Greek. And the decipher manual that survived with the Greek and the Latin one that was brought to Europe by Moors 700 years ago, and all that stuff became the custodian of the British Museum. But anyway, going down society and Crawley and them got these decipher manuals and reproduced what is the numerical breakdown of what your name is and your sign is based on what God and God is for. And so it came out of Hemmitt. And so what I had to do was they did it in the 1900s, in the late 1800s. I think 1990, I had to go back and revise some of the new information that came out of eschatology and other religions to get the accurate aspect of God and God. The good part about it is I revised it to the point with other manuals until we put them on cassette. So for people interested in finding out what God and God is about, we put this thing on a cassette. You sign up and you write your name, you count the letters in your name, you give me the number of your name, or you can at least give me your phone number, and I can contact you and I'll send you a cassette which will break down your God and God. It's going real well we just did Maryland and what the DC area. So if you're interested, there's only like $40 for the whole reading stuff, and you get the front and back of the set with all the breakdown, and you got the numerical breakdown of the ball and stuff. So that's for the people's interest for that. Okay, but going back, they're getting ready for something this summer. They get ready for something this summer that they want to keep you on rock. Now, we're going to go through a lot of this to today to bring this stuff down to what you need to deal with. Now, we are mutating as far as our bodies are mutating into something of another origin. So, so many words, as we speak, and the reason why the government has to come in and to put us on lockdown, because they're tracking our evolution genetically. One of the sisters that's up in Detroit said to me, she works in the lab, and they can look at the DNA of black people, and every day new amino acids is popping up on the DNA. Now, you know, amino acids is also forms of melanin. So it's good to get you some selenium, some L-lysine, which is amino acid, and some phenylalanine. You take all three of them together. About 10 years ago, I had a combination, went into meditation at third hour pulsating, but I lost one of the things. And one of them was I was taking selenium and the L-lysine, and I couldn't get the same effect. And so I thought about it later on, with phenylalanine also that was with this. So selenium, L-lysine, which is amino acid, selenium is a mineral. And phenylalanine is also amino acid. And when they study melanin, these particular amino acids also pop up. So this is very good in melanin research. You see what I'm saying? Also has things that you can also deal with. That DNA popping up, and we're changing and we're mutating or transmutating into a new species. Remember on the X-Men, they talk about the mutation. They say this process is very slow. Well, if you are later racist, it's very slow. But if you are the original people, you see what I'm saying? If you are the original people, then the process of this mutation that they're talking about is going on within us. You see, the transmutation. So they're studying the DNA, and they know we're going to another level. In this particular case, in the human body, because we're going through abnormal changes in the melanin is going through these particular processes and these changes, when you get sick, it is key, other than cleaning out, that's one of the keys now. You must clean out at least once so you can let the mutation happen. One of the other keys, if you get sick, it is imperative that you deal with urinopathy, where you drink your urine. Because the melanin and all of the new mutations that is going on inside your body, you see what I'm saying, comes out through your urine in the morning. So that's the most concentrated part. Number one, you go to the sleep realm, the dream realm, when you go to sleep. That's the other side. That's the group that does. Van Mars had a song, break on to the other side. You see, these white boys are trying to do some shit. Put it in the music and stuff like that. And Van Mars probably had a Native American connection or whatever. He tried to indicate that in the movie The Doors. Or whatever. And he came down, he did his thing, and he left. You see, same time, Jimi Hendrix, he checked out his 71, Jimi Hendrix checked out in 70. So, checked out in 70. But the mutations is going on in the morning. You let a little bit of the piss come out so you don't get the bacteria. But then the other part, at this particular time, is very potent. So this is a jump, especially if you get sick. You see what I'm saying? You can heal yourself based on you can heal yourself based on the urine therapy that's called urinopathy. And especially now because you're mutating at a higher pace. You see what I'm saying? You mutate at a high pace. Very easy to understand it. You see, this is, it had Canadian a couple of years ago. I think it was in the 80s in Egypt. And it had trapped in the ground for like 2 weeks. No, it was trapped in the ground for 7 days. No, it was more than 7 days. It was almost close to 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, only one guy came out alive. And he told all of them down there when they were down there to drink their urine. Nobody did it. And everyone died except the guy that was drinking his urine. You see what I'm saying? So, this is very key. But that was on that particular level. So what do you think on a level where you're mutating at a higher pace? You understand what I'm saying? These are things that's actually going on. So you need to deal with that at a particular time. Which leads me to my next point. I should have put this and then do an action on this too. Overlay for transparency. When I was in the airport the other day, waiting to be picked up, I went to get some coffee and I ran up on this. This is your Chicago Defender. See this black people? Yeah. You see, so they got engineers here. It's amazing how grown people. But that's what happens when you, the worst thing you can be is a non-historical person. And this is why Dr. Ben said years ago that a black person who don't know their history is dangerous. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't know your history, you have to get all your concepts from the enemy. You know what I'm saying? From the enemy. So here it is, it says, state of emergency. The Illinois House passes a bill that attacks black AIDS crisis. You take the black AIDS out and put black people, it's the same thing. Now, they say they passed this bill, and this is the key. They say they passed this bill, and it says they have an epidemic. Illinois General Assembly unanimously passed a bill Thursday. That bill coordinated the efforts of several state agencies addressing crisis in Black American community. See what I'm saying? Now, you must understand this crisis is not that concerned about you. And he been killing you wholesale. Now all of a sudden, worry about you. And all of a sudden now, you're the only one in America now where it is now. You see what I'm saying? White folks have been preaching for the longest if this was a sexual thing. You know what I'm saying? Try sexuals. Try any damn thing. And yet they're concerned about you. And here goes a new thing. They talk about this whole prison system. What the hell do you got to do with prison system? Happening it's a slow process of getting in and out of jail. Now look, come on, they're saying it's an epidemic in prison. And this is a new thing. First it was an epidemic in Black men. Then it's an epidemic 2 years ago in Black men. And now they're talking about prison. Well, goddamn. Who else do you know? Ain't other Black women out here and Black men out here and they're in prison. That's the Black women. Point I'm trying to make here is they know, because this is a new thing. Now come on, that can't be no epidemic in no prison. Don't you know the whole prison would die if it was an epidemic in prison? This is all a part of the system to destroy you. Now let me get this thing so you can understand what's going on here. To make a long story short. Because it's the House Bill 2578, known, this thing is called, known as the African American HIV/AIDS Response Act. This means that you are in trouble. You are in trouble. The African American AIDS Response Act. They got a bill in AIDS to get into your name. All this has to do with homeland security. It all has to do with terrorism and all of that. Now let me explain what's going on here. A couple of years back in 2003, a sister got a call from some AIDS agency. And they told her that someone that she knew came up HIV positive and named her as one of the people that she slept with. And they say, of course, we cannot force you to take the AIDS test. But they would recommend it highly. Now, about 4 years ago, about 2001, 2002, 2003, there's been a big movement in these black churches for people to sign up for the AIDS test. And the AIDS test is the key. Now listen. Once you take the AIDS test and you're going to come with HIV positive because there is no AIDS crisis. Look. They got a white boy 2 weeks ago who invented AIDS at Case Western University. It went to Cleveland, Ohio, and then it went to Fort Detrick, Maryland. This AIDS invention. Now this thing is still going around the world and kill millions. Here's an arrogant crowd that invented it, that put a patent on it. He put a patent on it. So in so many words, they got a patent. This president and where's the patent number? I got it on my table and I will take my call mine from. And they're ready to patent on this thing. 464 is the first few numbers. And this white boy will get paid. I want his recognition. So my point here is But whatever it was, because it was a germ warfare, they can eliminate the germ warfare, and basically they can function by herding you into whatever they're doing in the epidemic status without letting you know anything whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, we become the number one recipients of it. You see what I'm saying? And there is no age, there is just only a roll call to automatically brand you as an age carrier. And they do it through basically the test. When you take the test, you automatically will come down ready, especially through consciousness. That's what this whole tracking system is. That's why they got signed you up. Million family marches and all kind of shit. Million family marches and all these things here are based on, they need to find out, not based on the nationality, that's whatever about that one. They ain't never marched. It's brain dead. They're looking for the elect, talking about the people's conscience. So therefore, the government is focusing on the million family marches, they know the people in the South Carolina that don't know, but the South Carolina back to D.C. got to be a certain amount of people in there that's conscious. And that's what they're looking for. It's all about standing up to be counted. You see what I'm saying? Standing up to be counted. So in so many words, if somehow they can get a national register of conscious people, that's why it is key at this time to go incognito. Always incognito. Never announce your consciousness. That if they're tracking you with intelligence, and you take the age test, you're going to come apart. And you're going to come apart because you are conscious. Now, the key is, once you take the age test, you have voluntarily submitted yourself to the list and the lineup of terrorists. Now, why is that? Once you take the age test and they deem you HIV positive, then you are a national terrorist list because if you never have sex with anybody, it's a terrorist act. So they're saying national epidemic state of emergency. That's it, the death symbol right there. And look how it goes flatline. About like niggas running. Flatline. You know? But we're not out with the people. So, this is key that I came to this particular time when this paper comes out, the 15th and the 17th, 15th through the 17th, that's very key. Because what that is saying is this is setting up the criteria for the rest of the country. You see what I'm saying? This is setting up the criteria for the rest of the country. And it breaks right here in Chicago. You done got state legislation that done put out a bill that will be a bill that's going to pass throughout the country. And they're saying, niggas and AIDS go together. Like things on shit. Y'all understand this thing? Anytime you understand the magnitude of them putting a congressional bill together, or a state bill at this level, a state legislative level, with your name on it, African American HIV/AIDS Response Act. So it means in this age of terrorism that they are responding to African Americans. They say that, and they make that clear. African Americans, the ones who house the elect. This is kind of warfare. This is their way of saying, only thing we have to do is to brand you with AIDS. And we got it. You understand what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Any question and answer on this right quick? Because this is a time to read. What's that, brother?
The two people that put that forward, they both black women.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In 1972, the government agency of 1972, as far as possible government agency, they had on the list black women. Why? Because she was a part of the system. More so than the black man, and they shut out of it. They trained them to know that inadvertently, haphazardly, they become government agents and don't even know it. You see what I'm saying? And don't even know it. So what did they call them and come to them? Some of these niggas know this. Because the only thing you got to do for a nigga is get a paycheck behind it. Just like that woman is jealous. This woman is jealous, but she knew this thing is black woman. So this has been going on since the 40s. You see, so the point here is